AviationPros.com is the portal website for AMT, Airport Business, and Ground Support Worldwide magazines. Visit daily for breaking news, industry blogs, and insightful articles from our magazine's editorial team. And don't forget to sign up for our publication's daily e-newsletters. It's all at AviationPros.com.
Hello and welcome to the Aviation Pros podcast. I'm Christina Marsh, editor of Airport Business, and today I'm joined by Houston Airport Systems COO Jim Szczesniak to talk about Houston International Airport's International Terminal Redevelopment Program, a project designed to meet the increasing demand for international air travel that includes three critical elements: renovating Terminal D, an expansion with a new D West Pier, and processor building. So, Jim, there's a lot of exciting things happening at the Houston International Airport. The International Terminal Redevelopment Program and the United Airlines Terminal B Redevelopment Project. Let's talk a little bit about these projects. First, let's break down the three elements of the International Terminal Redevelopment Program. What can folks expect?
Yeah, so sure. So, again, our original international terminal that we had at the airport was 1990s vintage. We've seen basically passenger traffic almost quadruple through it. And so as we looked at the forecast of what was coming forward, again, Houston's a vibrant market. We've got about 100,000 people moving here on an annual basis. And so, all the Fortune 500 companies here, it was one of those things that we recognized that we needed to increase the capacity of our international terminal. So again, that's going to consist of kind of three main components to it. So number one was refreshing the existing gates that we have. Then we also we're going to build, so our terminal right now just basically has a one concourse layout in it, but we're going to stick a perpendicular pier on it too. So that's in construction right now. So that's a 6 wide body capable concourse. So it'll be 3 gates on each side that can go to 10 narrow body aircraft if we need it. And then we also are going to be redoing a central processor. So the existing terminal, the ticket hall area of it, basically in the roadway system didn't work for the expanded capacity. So what we did is we tore down one of the garages in our terminal core, and we're building a new central processor that's going to be handling all our ticketing and baggage.
And so I was speaking with Houston International Airport Director Mario Diaz earlier, and he had mentioned that one of the issues that the airport was having was the sufficient curb space. How is the processor helping to provide proper circulation, particularly during peak hour?
Yeah, so if you look at where we're at right now, you've got a terminal. The international terminal has this basically just a single level roadway. So what we're able to realize is obviously for the capacity that we needed for growth, we would not that single roadway was not going to be able, and that single level roadway was not going to be able to support that. And so with the central processor, we're going to have a 2-decked road. So we have again, that upstairs where you're going to go to ticketing, and then the downstairs from a baggage claim perspective and pickups. And so that's going to be a significant increase in the curb footage, because from a roadway perspective, you got to have the sufficient curbs, because if you don't have sufficient curbs, then your traffic backs up on the roads, and when it backs up on the roads, that kind of bogs everything down. So again, this new facility is going to come with at least a 30% increase in curb space over what we've had in the past. And again, it's a much more efficient layout, the way that's going to be laid out.
The design of the new D West Pier was driven by the need to simplify passenger flows for both domestic and international travelers. What does that mean for travelers, and what can folks look forward to?
So the new, the concourse itself is going to be a statement piece. So we've got, it's a very large facility that's got, again, the clear stories above, below the clear stories, this beautiful copper kind of roofing system that's in the terminal. You'll be able to see that's got little different angled louvers throughout it. It's going to let the light pour in. It's got a huge feature wall along the one side where we, it's on the western side, so that in the afternoon sun, That feature wall helps, it gives you enough of the visual outside, but then it helps, mitigate the heat load that we get here in Houston in the summer. Each gatehouse itself has its own international artist that is going to design basically some art installations from a welcome perspective, so that when you come in, again, we've got artists from Latin America in there that are going to be basically putting in these nice new gate installation artworks. The pier, when you enter the pier, has its own signature art installation that's also going in. And then we've got a new food court that's going to go in there where the pier meets the existing terminal. So that itself will be a very, signature kind of piece of architecture. But then you also add that when you arrive internationally, you're going to take the corridor into the FIS facility. Our FIS facility is already very nice, but then when you exit into the processor, the new central processor, it's a very substantial statement piece also. So it's going to have an oculus in it. So basically, we're going to have a huge skylight that comes in from the top of the building and goes all the way through the building to the basement, so that we can bring natural light all the way from the top to the bottom. In addition, that oculus has a very fancy LED screen that goes around the oculus, so that we would be able to do some pretty sophisticated graphics to be able to again, welcome people to Houston, give them that sense of place. Security checkpoint wise, they're going to have a 17-lane security checkpoint in the new central processor that is going to include all the modern, automated screening lanes, and including the walk-through kind of metal detectors, not the ones that you stand in, you raise your arms and the thing rotates. It's going to be, you just basically walk through it. So again, a lot of things that are pretty unique. And then also there'll be another signature art piece in the central processor.
So, an issue that all airports face during construction is how to interrupt passenger flow and operations as little as possible. How did you mitigate that challenge? And do you have any advice for other airports?
So again, there's always challenges when you're building, and we have to do the best mitigate. So from building the pier perspective, that was a little easier because of the fact that we kind of it was its own in its own spot, so that kind of was segregated from the passenger experience. And so the only where that's kind of connected is where we tie it in the food court with the regular terminal, and so minor dust wall changes and stuff like that, nothing too sophisticated on that. The processor itself, though, and the refreshing of the terminal D existing was a little more of an issue where we had to work through it. So the existing terminal D, we worked through it while the terminal was open, so we did not close any gates. So we were able to be fully functional while we redid it. It was, you kind of had that industrial loft look for a little bit. And so we had some, again, a lot of part of our dust signs because we were actively working in there. But I think people were appreciative of the fact that we did it in a way that a lot of the work was done overnight. So when we would switch out our furniture or put in our carpeting or anything that would really impact the customer experience, we did that at nighttime. A lot of the other stuff, was up in the ceilings that we had to do a lot. So again, that was up in the nighttime. And then we had a section of the area that we did barricade off with some dust walls to kind of, get a full force in there because of the fact that it was an area that was a little bit more surplus. So we could spend a lot more effort in there. It wouldn't impact the traveler experience. When we talk about the processor itself, though, that was a little more impactful because what we did is what we did from the garage perspective is, so number one, we had to take down the existing garage that was there. And then also the processor sits on the site that was the former United Terminal E processor for Terminal E. And so what we had to do with that is basically all the people that are using Terminal E are processing in Terminal C. So in order for us to make that happen, we had to work with United Airlines to really increase the TSA and the baggage system capacity of Terminal C, because it was, basically functioning as holding two terminals in it, to be able to enable that. So that's been relatively successful because of the fact that we look at the customer wait times in there, and in general, our goal is always under, kind of 22 minutes, and in most periods we're hitting that from a TSA wait time. Sometimes we do exceed that in that terminal, but it is one of those things that we're, again, trying to process 2 terminals through one. But then we also, again, had our international arrivals was impacted too. And so that's basically where we're actually really working to mitigate because of the fact that our international arrivals come out of the FIS facility there, and we put them on a temporary curb, and that temporary curb is not the best customer experience because of the fact that it's narrow, and it's also happens to be at the exit of of our roadway system. And so when traffic kind of from a curb perspective gets channeled in there, and we've got all the pickups and drop-offs that can slow traffic throughout the terminal core. And so the real solution to that is we have a really fantastic group of law enforcement officials that are out there really keeping the traffic flowing to keep things moving.
So the United Airlines Terminal B redevelopment. Tell us, what can folks expect to see with that?
So again, it's going to be, a replacement of legacy infrastructure with brand new. So Terminal B, as it sits today, it's 1969 vintage. So that's the processor is 1969, and then on the north side of the core, there's original, flight stations, the banjos, the circular ones that are from back in the day. And so those are completely outdated right now with 50-seat RJ operations on there. On the south side of the airfield, there was a more recent modernization of that where we basically put in a RJ gating complex, but again, it had walk, you had to walk through a corridor to your gates, and it was not jet bridge capable. So on the south side, they're going to upgrade that where those RJs, gates are, and turn those into more sophisticated, again, to tailor to the EMB 175 sized RJs, and then jet bridge it so you get a better customer experience there. The north, though, they're going to completely remove and redo. So that'll be turned into a 22 gate, 2-pier concept, be all brand new facilities there. And so that, again, will be a big improvement over what currently sits there. Additionally, they're going to redo the processor because the processor right now is too small, won't be able to support the load. So they're basically going to take a surface parking lot that is adjacent to the processor and build out more processor area. And then additionally, they're going to significantly increase the curb frontage that we've got for the terminals. And then we're also going to change the roadway flow. So right now, all traffic from Terminal B has to go all the way around past Terminal A. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put a cut through in there so that basically Terminal B traffic is its own thing, and it doesn't have to loop everybody past Terminal A. So we'll get a little bit of benefit on the roadways from doing that also. So again, all that fun and excitement is going to cost us in United about $2.55 billion. But again, it's one of those things that we're super excited about because it's a very needed project. The other thing that United is also adding into that facility is a new United Club, and it's going to be the largest United Club in their system. So again, wanting to make sure that we upgrade those 1969 facilities to the most modern that we can get and add the amenities that the passengers want.
So the new processor building that will connect Terminal D and Terminal E is expected to be fully operational by 2025, correct?
Correct.
When can folks look forward to Terminal B's completion?
Yeah, so that's really going to kick off in construction like second week in January over here. So we're going to get through the holidays, and at that point, they're going to take down those north flight stations and start demoing them. Total construction on that Terminal B project is supposed to be done in the second half of 2026.
Okay, exciting.
So they're very eager and ready to roll.
So as you mentioned, this is the largest United Club. Can you give us a little bit more details? What are we looking at size-wise?
I don't have the specifics on it yet because I think we're still kind of finalizing design on it. But again, they understand that it's going to be, again, they're wanting to do the terminal. They realize that how important that club is to your premium travelers, and so they're gonna maximize that club to make sure that it provides the capacity that they need and the amenities that they need in it.
Sure. Well, Jim, there's a lot to look forward to, and I want to thank you again for joining us to fill us in on what's happening and when we can expect to see some of these exciting projects.
Yeah, super excited to kind of talk about this, but again, it kind of just highlights the fact of how much work we have in front of us. We didn't even mention Hobby and the projects we're doing there, or Ellington, the projects we're doing there. So yeah, we got plenty going on here, that's for sure.
Well, it sounds like we're going to have you back, definitely.
Sounds good.
Thanks again for listening to today's podcast. Stay up to date on industry news, current issues, and information specifically for airports, airport operations, FBOs, and airport-based business by subscribing to Airport Business Daily Newsletter. And as always, please continue to visit AviationPros.com.